This episode is brought to you by the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge. We believe that when you purchase from a small online or offline business, your dollar goes further. Hey friends, Minna and I created the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge, and we're inviting you to take it with us. It's a commitment to make 1 in 5 of your purchases from a small business, online or offline. It's a way to make an impact together where and when it matters most. Because the truth is, your purchasing power matters now more than ever. Head to shop1in5.com to take the pledge. Make that commitment to shop 1 in 5 of your purchases towards a small business. We also invite you to shop the directory if you don't know where to find other small businesses. It's right there on the page. And we're asking for you to share the pledge. Imagine if each of us told 3 to 4 people about the Shop 1 in 5 pledge. It would be an incredible and life-changing for so many small businesses. Tell your friends, your family, and your social network. It costs nothing extra and makes a world of difference. Our purchases have the ability to change lives. Okay, let's jump in.
Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Minna an Amazon guru that has built a multi-6-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Product Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Snyder, with my super organized co-host, Minna Kunlo-Sita. Hey, Minna.
Hey, Jacqueline.
All right, friends, today is a good one. We are headed into quarter 2, or we're already in there. And this is a great quarter for us to reflect on what's happened so far in 2021 and how to move forward through the rest of the year, especially as we gear up as product bosses to get into quarter 3 and quarter 4, which are typically the busiest time of the year. So today we're going to talk about how to change your life and your business over the next 12 months and to make sure that you're aligning your actions to meet your dream life.
Right. I mean, Q1 is behind us. It came and it went, right? It went so quickly compared to 2020. And so now we actually have some solid data to go from of where the rest of the year might go, right? So just like Jacqueline said, it's really exciting because now we can move forward with more focus, more determination, more clarity, and really know that, oh, this is possible because I was able to do that in 2021. Now that I'm moving forward and I can get all my ducks in a row before Q3 or Q4. And so not only that, but this one is a super exciting episode because we have a download for everybody, right, Jacqueline?
Yeah. So we have a 1-page download that's going to share this pyramid that we've created, which is about how to change your life and your business over the next 12 months. And it'll really help you with a visual. We're going to walk you through it and talk you through it, but make sure to click the link in the show notes so you can get this download. You can fill it in, you can work on it, and you can just really make sure that all of your actions, your daily actions are aligning with your 12-month goal and ultimately your bigger dream life. So you ready to talk about it?
Yes, I am ready.
All right. So first what we want to do is we're going to talk about this pyramid. All right. So imagine a pyramid, friends. Okay. And at the top of the pyramid is your 3-year dream life. Like it's hard right now for some of you to dream what from 3 years is going to look like in your life. If you want to get dreamy and think 3 years from now, I'd like to have $1 million business and I'd like to own a lake house and I want a personal chef and I want a team that does everything for me and I get to live in my best life, right? You can start to dream what your 3-year dream is. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to not focus on that part this episode and kind of go down from there. So underneath your 3-year dream at the top of the pyramid is your 1-year vision. So that's the next 12 months. What do you vision for your business? All right. So what we can do first off is and this is something that we work with our masterminders. This is something we work on Multi-Stream Machine in our course with our students there, is really planning their path to profit and what would they like to do in their business over the next 12 months and how are they going to get there? So I think one thing I'd love for you to do, and this is on the worksheet, but first I'd love for you to all think about 3 things that you want to make happen in the next 12 months.
Right. Three things. And actually, you know what? We should have done four things. So if you want, to throw in, because we say three things because you're able to wrap your mind around three big things that you could get done. But four things would be exactly what you potentially could break into quarters. Because from there, we're going to have you break it down into quarters. And that's usually what happens when we first start working with our masterminders or students in multi-stream machine is we have you think about your revenue goal. What is your big revenue goal that you want to get to for the next 12 months? But it can seem overwhelming if you don't break it down. If you don't break it down into quarters of, okay, this is when I'm going to be making this portion of that, so what did you make in quarter one? Mm-hmm. And what do you expect to make in quarter two, quarter three, and quarter four? And that should all add up to your 1 year goal.
Right. And a lot of times we have you, and you might have heard us talk about this, but we have you set a good, better, and best goal for your revenue. So good goal is typically matching what you've done in the past, right? It's the same. You just want to repeat that year. You want it to be a repeatable year. That's your good goal.
You've done it already.
Mm-hmm. You know you can do it. It's not a fluke. You know you can do it. Your better goal is growth from last year. Maybe it's 1.5 times whatever you were. So maybe if you were a $100,000 business, you're now a $150,000 business. That's your better goal. And your best goal is a stretch. And I'm going to say it's not even double. It could be double. It could be a $200,000 business. It could be 2.5 times. It could be 250,000. It depends on what you're projecting and what your actions are going to be over the next year. And we've seen people blow their best goals out of the water by adding a second platform to their business. By just doing something like that, it's actually doubled or tripled or quadrupled their revenue. So first, think about what is my good, my better, and my best goal. And then when you start to think about that revenue number, your good, better, and best, you can actually divide it up over the quarters. You could say, all right, like let's say it's $100,000, right? I want to make, you could do it evenly, $25,000 a quarter, which would get you to 100,000. Or if you know that Q3 and Q4 are your best, best quarters, for example, maybe you make the huge majority of chunk of that. Maybe you're making $65,000 in Q3 and Q4, and that the rest of it that needs to be met to hit your goal is broken up over Q1 and Q2. So I'd love for you to think about that.
Right. And that just makes it feel more attainable. Right. And really thinking about the seasons of your business, because, for example, my busy season for Little Labels is quarter three. It's actually not quarter four. But because I know that, I know not to freak out in quarter two when I'm working on my business to stabilize and to get everything ready in order to sell more in quarter three. Also in quarter four, it's a certain amount then, but I know not to freak out during the holiday season when in Christmas time, the labels are not giftables, for example, or I can make a gift card bundle and know that people at the beginning of the new year perhaps are going to be organizing their houses. So it really gives you a place to create content around, but also create offerings and product collection pieces or whatever ends up being that you're able to attain that revenue goal for that quarter.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back to 100,000 because it's the easiest. I can do 100,000, I can do a million, make it easy with dividing it up. But I'm going to go back to that. So let's say you've set your goal at $100,000 for the next 12 months. And you've broken it up by quarters and you've really looked, this is how I'm going to hit those goals, right? Then we're going to go back to kind of what I said before. And now I'd like you to think about three or four things you're going to make happen over the next 12 months to hit those goals. So some of those examples might be, I'm going to grow my email list X amount percentage or to this number, right? Depending on where you're at. It might be, I'm going to get on a new platform. Maybe you're going to enter into wholesale. Maybe you're going to get onto Amazon. Maybe you're going to build your own website and start selling direct to consumer. So that was email. There's that. It might be, I'm going to do new photos because I need an overhaul of my photos. I'm going to fix my website. I'm really going to get an inventory system set up. These are big projects that will lead you to your goal, but they're not things that you do all at the same time, all within one quarter, right? They're bigger projects that you're doing that are going to help you hit that revenue goal in the future.
Right. They're big, animals. Like I always call wholesale an animal of its own, a beast of its own, because it's so big. It feels so big and you need more effort towards it. You still need to break it down. So if, let's say, you did create a wholesale arm of your business, or you, like Jacqueline said, were to get onto Amazon or to get onto, other people's audiences, like their platform, perhaps it's Bulletin. We actually have Allie Kriegsman from Bulletin on the podcast as well, for example. So whatever it is that you want to have part of your 1-year vision, you're going to need to further break that down. And where, if you can imagine the pyramid now we went from the tippity top being 3-year dream to underneath it being 1-year vision, underneath that being quarterly goals, right? We talked about the quarterly goals, even in revenue, what that looks like per quarter. Like what Jacqueline said, it could be 25,000 if it's a, broken evenly up goal of the year. And then from that, there's monthly projects. So monthly projects of how you're going to break that down even further. So it goes from quarterly to monthly. So for quarter 2, it'll be April, May, and June. So April, May, and June, what are you going to do from those quarterly goals that will help you break it down into monthly projects? So let's say one of your big goals was to get onto Amazon, like what Jacqueline said, right? One of the big projects might be to take the photos that you need to take. It might be, or to hire somebody to take the photos. It could be to get the listing together. First and foremost, it could be estimating how many ones that you want to set up or to ship into Amazon. So producing your product, what is that going to look like? So lots of different projects that are within that quarterly goal, projects within projects, right? That would get you to that.
Think from a data, like a number standpoint. So sometimes we can hit these projects, but we're talking about revenue goals here. So if you want to add on Amazon, so let's say you're making X amount of revenue selling direct to consumers, maybe you're in-person trade shows, maybe you're selling on Etsy, maybe you've got a website that's chugging along and you're like, okay, I'm ready to add another platform. I'm going to add Amazon on. Great. That's great. But as the business owner, I'd love for you to think, well, what kind of revenue do you want to generate on there? Do you want to double your revenue because now you're on another platform and you have the ability to double? And then when are you going to set those goals for that revenue? So it could be that you get onto Amazon in Q2, and it could be that you send in 100 pieces and you sell out of those 100 pieces within the first quarter. And you'll have a dollar amount to that. And then it might be Q3, you lean harder into Amazon. And now your goal is to set to double your revenue by Q3. So I think if you can work at it from a revenue perspective, you can work backwards into how many pieces you need, what you need to do, where you need to lean into it. And I think that's what takes you down into those monthly projects. Because for example, if in Q2, you're like, I need to get on Amazon, I need to ship stuff. It's not going to take you 3 months, especially if you're a multi-issue machine student. We walk you through all of the steps to get up and running on Amazon immediately. You could do it in a weekend. So you get online. But then over the next couple of months, how do you start to drive traffic there? And that's a project and you can have some sort of KPI, a key performance indicator, to show that is coming to fruition. And then you can up that for the next quarter.
And before anybody gets super confused on, does that mean I should be on Amazon? No, that's just an example. But another good example is we have a lot of people that are on Etsy or on different places that want to create their own website. That is a huge project, right? To make a website and then actually have it convert, meaning that it's making sales. So if you were to use that as an example, okay, well, what does that look like? Okay, well, I'm going to get my website onto Shopify and I'm going to make sure that it has, my best sellers on there. And it's going to be, here's going to be the hero image. And so I need to get my photos taken. So there are lots of different projects. And then it's like, okay, well, I want to set it to a goal and an end date. So in there, it would be like, okay, my goal is to make 10 sales on my website by the end of quarter 2.
Mm-hmm. It's like get it up and running and make 10 sales. Yeah. And this is just giving you numbers. It might take you 6 months to get up there.
Right.
But we're just throwing it. So you want to have some sort of thing where you're like, I want this website built by X date. I need my photos built by X date and I want to get sales going. And then the next quarter might be, okay, now that you've proved that you can make 10 sales, it might be that you're going to try and get 10 sales a week. And then, so all of that turns into monthly projects. So I hope you're understanding how you can create these quarterly goals, and then you're going to break it down into monthly projects that are going to help accomplish that quarterly goal, which that quarterly goal, remember, contributes to you hitting your 1 year good, better, best revenue goal.
Yeah. And so stepping right into math here. So a quarter is 12 weeks, right? So now we've broken it up into 3 months of 4 weeks. So 3 months of 4 weeks. And now from monthly practice, we're going to weekly. So I like to give this visual because week by week, 12 weeks, you can say, okay, I've broken down it into week by week. And these are the 12 things I need to get done. And on week 4, I'm planning to do this thing. This is when in the process of things, I'm going to get my photos taken. So you can break it down that way too, but essentially it's quarterly to monthly to weekly. And so when Jacqueline and I were talking about, okay, now let's just keep going with this website example. So I want to have a website by the end of quarter 2 and I want to make 10 sales. Okay. Well, there's so many things that go into it, like writing my product listing or taking photos. So in that case, you're breaking it down into week by week, like what I said, let's say 12 things. And then now you have to determine, are you going to do it or are you going to delegate it? Right? Or are you going to delete it? Right? This is something that, Mike Michalowicz talks about of Profit First and I forget what his one of Clockwork, Run Like Clockwork. Is that what the book is?
I think so.
But he basically it's do, delegate, or dismiss, I think is what it is, or delete perhaps. I can't remember what that third one is. But basically in those weekly project or weekly tasks that you're breaking down from the monthly projects, you are doing your delegating or you're just deleting it because it's unnecessary. Right. And so that's when it comes to week. And that's when you're breaking it down even further into, okay, that goal is now a weekly thing that I'm working in, a weekly action.
And instead of feeling overwhelmed, right? Because all of these things initially, when you're like, I'm going to build a new website and then double my sales on my website, and I want to do that this year, I'm sure a lot of you are hearing that and saying, look, that sounds really overwhelming. So if you start to work backwards from that goal, right, from your 1-year vision, creating that quarterly goal, when are you going to get it done? Then your monthly projects, what am I going to do in month 1, month 2, month 3? And go from there. And then, like Minna said, if there's 12 weeks, what's one big task you can do a week or multiple tasks you can do a week to start chipping away at this project, right? That's going to get you to your goal. And then further, so the very bottom of our pyramid is daily actions. So one of the most important things that you can do is figure out what you're doing daily that are going to end up making you or helping you hit your grand revenue goals.
Right. There's this saying that I love that is, if you want to change somebody's life, you change their day. And it really is about the habits that you keep that will, whether or not you get closer to your dream life. And that's kind of the black and white of it, right? It's like, okay, well, some people love to get dreamy and they would love a lake house or a dream car, or dream house, or go on vacation, but they don't make any steps towards it. They don't make any changes in their daily life. They don't want it bad enough, So what is it that you're changing in your life, but keeping in mind that you're still living your life. So you want to keep on going forward in this whole plan. So it might be that, I'm going to wake up every morning, an hour earlier before my kids, and I'm going to work on shipping or production or whatever it is. I don't know what your daily tasks look like. This is really, whatever your goals were, you're placing into whatever day. So, like Jacqueline said, you're not feeling overwhelmed by all the things you need to do with the website. You're waking up and you're thinking, okay, I allotted Wednesday for that. And that's what I'm going to work on Wednesday between the hours of, 10 and 12 p.m. Central Standard Time or AM. PM.
Yeah, you pick your time blocks, right? So those daily actions, there's the people who wake up early before their kids. Yeah. God bless them. Somehow my kids
I wish
wake up when I wake up early. So that's not going to work for me. Or it's really delegating hours, right? Because we can eat up our hours doing all sorts of things. So some of you might be surfing, Instagram and scrolling and spending all this time and then saying, oh, but I have no time to build my website, or I have no time to get onto Amazon, or I have no time to try and build out wholesale for my business. But do you or don't you? So if you follow along with this and you figure out what daily actions you're going to do to accomplish those weekly tasks, to accomplish those monthly projects that lead towards your quarterly goals and ultimately your 1-year vision, you can see how making this bite size and breaking it down and really holding yourself accountable to the daily actions is what's going to move the needle and help you hit your good goal, your better goal, or your best goal.
Yeah. You know why I love this visual too, is because when you break it down, like what you said, all the way down to the daily task, it really allows you to look at time, like that your time is worth your money, for example, worth your reinvestment. So for example, when people buy multi-stream machine, it's our signature course, and they're thinking, okay, I'm going to buy that. They're buying back their time. They're shortcutting something that's like, oh, I have all these tasks. I want to get onto Amazon, but I don't know how. And they have this whole big project list of all the things that they have to do, but they can, this is part of the, delegating or automation that happens is like, oh, I will just buy multi-stream machine and that will skip me to step 6, step 8, or whatever it is, and I don't have to do all that research myself. I don't have to figure out how to ship things into Amazon. I don't need to figure out how to do labels or barcodes, right? So you're skipping a lot of those steps in by buying back your time through a course. And so, instead of delegating to a person who's figuring it out for you, which probably is yourself, then you're delegating it to an automation of, hey, I'm going to buy multi-stream machine and it's going to shortcut that for me. So it really just shows you step by step how your time is allotted. And so you're going from daily to weekly to monthly to quarterly to yearly to all the way to a 3-year dream of how your life could change. And just imagine, like, it really does start with what you do at such a part of your, it can be broken down to such a granular point, right? Like, this is the hour that I'm going to do this for the next, 3 months. It can be pretty amazing what you can accomplish.
Absolutely. So just a couple more examples of that with Amazon or whatnot. So I want you all to think about, there's something that you've wanted to do in your business. There's something, all of you, no matter where you're at in your business or
like
what
a needle
level,
mover.
There's something you're like, God, one day I want to X.
Mm-hmm.
One day I want to open up a brick and mortar. One day I want to grow, build a website. One day I want to, whatever it is. So I want you all to think about what that one day thing is. And then I want you to think about, why have you not done it yet? What is that one day? Why? Is it that because most of the time you're getting stuck. A lot of the times when we don't take action, it's because we don't know the next step forward. And we sometimes have to plan and figure out, well, I need to actually set time aside to figure out the next step. I've talked about this a lot of times when I moved to the new town in New Jersey and I needed to find a dentist. And let me tell you how long I pushed off getting a dentist. You want to know why? It's not because I didn't want to go. It's because I had to figure out a dentist. I had to find their number. I got super stuck and I was like, forget it. I don't have time.
Even lived with a toothache.
I mean, so many things, right? So I'm just going to use a personal example from a personal thing. And so I needed to allot time on a day to first, okay, it was like, what do I need to do? How do I overcome these objections that my brain is kicking up as to why I'm not making a dentist appointment? So one of it was like, well, I don't know where to find a dentist. Okay. So I set some time aside and I was like, okay, ask the moms, ask the local moms and Google it. Great. All right. I've done that. Okay. And I set that time in my daily action. Then the next thing that I did was then I had to set another timeline. Okay. Now, create that list of 5 dentists to call. And then I said, okay, now I'm going to call those 5 dentists. So I want you to just think about that sometimes the reason we don't take action is because we get stuck on super simple steps. And I think that's what when Minna's talking about, multi-stream machine, for example, of skipping steps. Those of you who haven't gone on Amazon, it's because sometimes it's like, well, where do I even find the link? What do I do next? Those of you who haven't sold wholesale, you're like, great, I want to sell wholesale. I have no idea what to do, where to start, how to find the stores, right? And you feel stuck in taking that action. Those of you who want to build a website, same thing. Okay, I want to build a website, but what's my first next step? Or I want to improve my website. Those of you who want to track your inventory better, you might be thinking, I want to track my inventory better. I want to know what dollars are sitting on the shelves, not moving, but I'm just stuck and I haven't found the time. So if you start to incorporate this idea of these daily actions, right? And you set aside time for that, you will accomplish these bigger projects that will lead to your bigger goals.
Yeah, agreed. And then you just need to make sure everything is aligned, because sometimes we'll do stuff because we're just used to doing it that way, right? You, for example, cut out all your shipping labels with scissors because you're used to doing it that way. Now, and then you sit down to do a visioning day and you're like, I want this dream business. But in that dream life, are you still cutting out labels with your scissors, right? It doesn't align. The time, the duties, the roles of you as the boss of your business, your time is better spent somewhere else. Your team's time is spent better somewhere else. You get a label maker that's just fit to size, right? Or you create a workstation, a shipping station that allows for your team to know what to do without you having to tell them every step of the way. It's a standard operating procedure, an SOP, right? You've built in a system. So there's things like that that help develop you as a business and help develop you as a business owner. And it really is aligning those two things, because we all have a different idea of what our lives will be like, a different idea of what our success looks like to us, and a different idea of what our business will look like. And it's just a matter of making sure that that is aligned with what we're doing in our daily life to our basically our dream life, right? It's where you are now to where you want to be, and how are you going to get there?
Yeah. So we'd love to help you just start dreaming and visioning for yourself. And so if you want to click that link in our show notes, you can download this pyramid. You could visualize what we were talking about. You can go back and listen and kind of go through it. And then, set those 3 to 4 things that you want to make happen over the next 12 months and figure out what your steps are. And for those of our multi-stream machine students that are also in the 90-day roadmap, we help you in there with the project planning sheets. And then also our multi-stream machine students in the very beginning of the first module, where we talk about, your path to profit and what's going to get you to your good, better, and best goal. And so we cannot wait to continue to support our students and for our future students. And I hope that this was helpful.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for being here and listening all the way through the Product Boss podcast. If you love our show and it has helped you in any way in your business, would you mind doing 2 things for us? Subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review. Reviews help other product entrepreneurs know that this is the place to be to grow their businesses and realize that they're not alone. And we know that you all know that a 5-star and honest review helps you sell more products to more people. So you know that your reviews help us reach more listeners around the world. Remember, what we give is what we receive, and we are all about helping each other in the Product Boss community. We are all in this together. We would be so appreciative of you if you could take the time right now to subscribe, leave a review, and even share this episode on social or someone you know so we can impact more lives. And remember, subscribing means that you will get notified each time we release a new episode so you never miss a thing. You have helped us grow and climb into the top 10 of all marketing podcasts, and together we can keep climbing. Thank you, friends. And remember, there is room at the top for all of us. This episode is brought to you by the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge. We believe that when you purchase from a small online or offline business, your dollar goes further. Hey friends, Minna and I created the Shop 1 in 5 Pledge, and we're inviting you to take the pledge with us. It's a commitment to make 1 in 5 of your purchases from a small business, online or offline. It's a way to make an impact together where and when it matters most. Because the truth is, your purchasing power matters now more than ever. We're inviting you to take the pledge if you head to shop1in5.com. The link is in the show notes. And when you get there, please make sure to share the pledge with your friends, your family, and your customers. Let's invite everyone to take the Shop 1 in 5 pledge so that we can all use our purchasing power to change lives.